Stream. Stream.
Streaming.
Going to the stream. All right.
You just got the gospel, Chris Reviewer. The good gospel, as it were.
All right. So here we are. Logan, why don't you take us away while I get set up?
Take us away. Okay, welcome everybody to the dev stream on this fine 11/12/2015. We've made it past Mayan apocalypse to be able to be here as a group together. Right? That one's happened already. I have my dates right, internet.
Debatable.
Debatable. I spit stuff out wrong all the time, but I don't get lost in Savage Lands.
Oh,
For those of us that were
zinger.
with us last night for the ever eventful dev stream that we surprised you guys with, hopefully you're able to see that and enjoy and watch our devs go in a locomotive train across the island to be able to kill the dragon. But today you have the ever wonderful, ever Seahawk capped, ever insightful, wise, fearless game director Chris Rubio over on the left side of your screen there.
That's going to cost me.
It's going to cost you a lot.
All right.
And you've got me, Logan, your lead producer for Signal Studios, sitting here on the right on my magical floating ball on the ground, answering your questions, passing out codes, and trying to provide comedic relief when Chris runs out of words.
Which is quite often.
Often.
I just got, it is what it is. All right, I'm out of words.
You're out of words. So in stream, we've got Xshawn and Devil and Pixie also helping us with moderation, and they will help guide some of the questions as well from the community, from helping you guys out and making sure your words are seen. As you notice, me and Chris both wear glasses, so we're kind of blind.
Words are seen. Seen by the people of the interwebs.
Oh, the people!
All right, so what shall we talk about? Well, this game, it's actually truly fuzzy. It is a pretty cool game. I think so. I've been working on it for more than a year. Yeah, like a year and a half now. Yeah, I think it's awesome.
I hope you've been working on it.
That'd
be awkward if you weren't.
That's the question of the day. Darn it. I just dropped a Rage Bane on the ground. Boop, there we go. All right, so what are we going to talk about? I know what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the patch that just got released. Game update number 50. And game update number 50 has lots of cool stuff going on with it. Of course, it's been in beta now for like a week, maybe longer, because we've kind of been updating the builds every so often. So what do we have to offer this week, guys? We got the Forest Giants. I switched their attacks back to single target, reduced the transition time from their dormant states. Forest Gremlins now have impact sound effects. I tweaked the skeleton spawn rate around Argo, basic axes, slightly more efficient at mining rocks, and it just gets better from there. I also increased the overall physical size of the boss creatures, Lycor, Helion, Ragnarok, Draymar, Spirit Wolves. They look really cool. And I added a light source to Ragnarok, Helion, and Lycor, so when they're walking around, you'll know it because they kind of glow purple for Lycor, yellow for Helion, red for Ragnarok. So they look really cool. Good stuff. There was an issue with Helion and the Undead Furies not doing damage properly. You guys didn't report that. Go figure that they weren't doing any damage. I know why that happened, because somebody went into my units and or my creatures, and turned off their attack damage. Logan. So that has been... you like that? So it's all been fixed.
Watch this. These hands did not touch your spawn tables, I promise, or creature tables, or any tables.
So we got, we went ahead. That's all fixed up now, guys. We're going to be making our way now to, with that out of the way, I just posted up the ticker. The team is currently working on Unity 5, which is super awesome. And that's our next patch. We're moving the game to Unity 5. Everybody's been waiting for it. We got some good stuff planned. Oh, you might see in the ticker too that you're going to have dual wielding. What? Dual wielding?
What's
going on? This is crazy. Imagine chopping trees. It's going to be awesome. So we're adding in a lot of cool stuff. We're looking at adding in a loot all, so you can just loot all objects with one key press. Madness. Yeah, we're gutting a few things out and putting in some new niceties that's going to make the world a better place for everybody. So today, I'm just going to be farting around here in the old Argo, running around, doing stuff, killing things. We'll
Chris,
see.
are we going to be able to use dual wielding rage banes?
That is awesome. Did we talk about since I was last stream I was down at BlizzCon, which was a bunch of fun, and I actually ran into someone who was well aware because I was wearing my Signal jacket, and we talked about Savage, which was sweet. So someone from the community randomly met me there named Tony. He didn't give me his actual in-game name though, so that makes it a little harder. But I was just recovering from Death Plague, and now I'm recovering from BlizzCon Plague, so please excuse my voice and understand that Chris is the magical voice, and I am mostly the death voice still.
Magical voice
See,
coming to you live from Signal Studios.
like a unicorn just came out of that mouth. But we do have a bunch of questions, but I'm not sure. Did you mention the team size growing last week? I mean, we've kind of talked about it on the dev stream a little bit last night, but
So no, I have not. I mentioned that we were growing in size, but I didn't actually put a number on it. As of right now, we're 10 devs? You would say we went from 3, 4 to 10. Would that be a good number, Logan?
safe number.
Safe number. So yeah, we got artists, we got programmers, lots of programmers. Myself, I have another designer on board now to help out. Logan's on board now on the production side, making sure everything runs incredibly smooth. So yeah, we got a lot of stuff. And the president of the company's rebuilding basically redoing the entire map as we speak. So a lot of good stuff in the works.
The fine, solid hands of Dr. Albright the Third is going to bless Savage Lands, one tree at a time.
One tree at a time. So a lot of cool stuff planned. So yeah, we've grown to 10 people now, which is, for us, that's a pretty big team. Not as big as, say, your ARC, which has 100 people now. Probably not. Probably like 40. But still
Say
pretty
40,
good.
40,000 people.
Yeah, a lot. But, it's pretty good for us, for an indie dev working on this game. A lot of people have said, you guys have abandoned, you will ultimately abandon the game like every other developer out there. Well, we haven't abandoned the game. Matter of fact, we're actually pushing the game to full release. I mean, I know how many early access games really do that. Oh,
and then still also support it after it's been released. That's another big
madness!
one. I know.
We're just
fired.
We're just firing like freaking battle cruisers.
Our streams can't be attacked by forum trolls.
That's awesome. I like that. That's right.
I mean,
Played your game 10 minutes. It's not a survival game.
Nah, I survived.
Thumbs down. I survived. I died. Sorry.
I know.
Just having fun.
It happens. We are having fun. So we do have, once again, Sean, if you guys had in the Steam community, he can shoot you a link. Every week, we're getting questions for you guys ahead of time for the dev stream. We'll kind of burn through some of those, as well as try to answer everything that they are not answering for you in the chat as well. So the first question in the thread comes from PG Dark Dragon Afterlife. Wow. So apparently Dark Dragon Afterlife is rated as a PG film, is what it is, because that's the caption. So will Kerr be the final boss of the game, or will there be another final boss?
Kerr, as he exists today, is the kind of part of the end game. But we are looking at adding more creatures into the world that will ultimately tie to the Kerr encounter. So, but he is, as of when we launch, he'll be the boss. But that could be expanded with time.
Could be expanded with time. Always a good answer. Never know what the future holds. A question in chat from King Carnifex is: are we going to be able to dual wield Rage Bands?
No, Rage Band will probably go to two-handed.
So obviously, with the change and update to dual wield, there's going to be different ways with how you hold weapons. If they take 2 slots, whether or not you'll be able to use a torch at all times. If you could dual wield torches, There'll be lots of interesting things that'll fall out from a big update and upgrade like that.
Yeah, there's a lot of good stuff planned, guys. We still got to work through dual wielding. I'll have to go through all the weapons to see what can be dual wielded, what is going to become a two-hander, what will be one-handed only. So we'll get it all sorted out. That's just going to be some balancing that'll take place over the next month or so.
Big update, which will be crazy sweet, and I'm excited for personally. Because Chris mentioned
Free lunch,
something. I mean, you
dragon
mentioned
bag.
something that I didn't even think about of like dual chopping trees.
G.
Like if that's even possible, if that works its way into it.
Oh yeah, I want to
Free
have
lunch, dragon skull bag.
certain types of axes that you can use to chop down trees. Just super, just chopping away. It'll be really cool. I'm actually excited. We're also looking at potentially adding in some things like auto pickup when you mine rocks. So it'll just auto collect for you, so you don't have to sit there and pick everything up off the ground. Be cool. It's a nicety.
It is a nicety. Can we nickname one of those axes the Beaver?
Yes.
For trees. Gee, come on, Chris.
That's what I was. Well, I was trying to think there. I'm like, what is Logan getting at?
It's pretty.
All right.
Is that better?
Yeah, there will be fall damage in the game too. It's on our list. I don't have the list today, but the next stream I'll actually go through it and we can talk about all the cool things that we'll be working on. We're also looking into shields. We're looking into We're looking into spears, both melee and throwing. We're also looking into potentially secondary attacks as well. So there you go.
Some questions from the chat just being answered as we go through. So, Slowpoke posted this in another thread a few minutes ago, but maybe it can be answered in the scrutiny. Unity 5.2 doesn't know much about game engines. I heard Signal is planning on the change to Unity 5. Looked around the net and saw some YouTube videos of Rust using Unity, which looked like utter crap. It's a positive question. They currently love the look and the atmosphere, and is it going to look more like Rust when the new engine is used?
No, it'll look more like Savage.
Surprisingly.
We use different art assets. We have a different artistic tone to our game, theme, so it'll very much look like the world that we want it to look like. Unity 5 is a really good engine. It's just all in how you use the tools.
And ultimately, it's, as Chris would approve things that go into the final game, we'll ultimately approve of the look. If it looks bad, we probably would never, let you guys see that.
Yeah,
Especially DR Albright and the standards for Signal, We're not going to put out something we don't like the way it looks at the end result, because what would be the point?
Yeah, as we move through early access in our minds, it's okay that things kind of are, they might need tweaking or, things, they might not be, they might be at a 60, 70%. The reason, and that's good because early access for us, there's a lot of testing that happens, a lot of changes and iteration that takes place, so that's a good thing. But when we go to full release, we are going to be pushing the game to quality. We're going to make sure that what we release with, we're happy with. You'll get your money's worth for $15, $20, whatever our price point is at release. It's not going to be much, it's going to be within the price range we're at now, but I can't, things could change. I've talked about guys giving everybody that's in early access a special item. So you get a special item for participating in early access. That's something the code team doesn't necessarily think would be too difficult. But it seems like that would be a great thing for all those people that helped us test the game and were early adopters of the Savage experience.
Hooray!
Nah, Y2J, I'm just running around. I'm just jumping, running.
Jumping, running, doing things. Seeing the world.
Seeing the world.
Much like he took us on last night.
You guys loved it. You guys thought it was awesome. You're like, wow, this is glorious.
We survived. We survived.
You will survive.
So, interesting thing that I think I saw on the list of potential items. Are there any plans to allow resources that have been harvested, like trees, to regrow?
It is on our list of things to look at. We will see. we will evaluate the overall complexity to get that into the engine as it exists today. But it is something, we will probably allow players to manipulate on the server side. But we're going to default things to a couple days. I don't know. I got to think it out in a little bit more detail. I'll take a look at a few other games that have respawning resources. What I want to avoid is somebody, hey, here's a rock that spawns, high quality ore. I'm just going to build my house right here, and I'm just going to wait for it to respawn. That's what I don't want, because that seems incredibly silly to me. Doesn't make any sense for an open world survival game.
Less silliness, more survival.
Just saying.
Just say. It's how I feel inside, people. Can you elaborate on secondary attacks, and have you thought about adding caves? So that's 2 questions by You Die by Gaming. That's not a very uplifting name.
Secondary attacks, very simple, but things like, for example, you use your left mouse to attack right now, and you got a couple different attacks. You use your right mouse button, it may do a butt the creature or stun with like the hilt of the sword, where it bashes it, and maybe you stun it. So certain types of weapons may have different types of secondary abilities. Again, it's a system I got to explore with code to see what's viable. So a lot of animation that we got to evaluate as well. But that's kind of the general idea.
General idea. Like, attention. Someone put a general inside someone has a salute. Sweet, I haven't seen that before.
Oh, as for caves, still yet to be determined, because we got to get we got to get Unity 5 and all that other good stuff done first. So it's a little bit lower on the priority list.
I mean, so talk a little bit about, ultimately with Unity 5 and the new map, what the big priority to you pushing forward is right now.
So what we're focused on is actually getting the game back and up and running again in parity with what we have today. Because we had to unhook a few things. The water's totally broken. It's just, it's not a smooth transition for us in terms of how the game was hooked up. So we had to decouple a few things. And also in how we're doing the new map is not how we did the map originally. So the new map is actually 3 islands, where this map that we play on right now, which was a first pass map, it was a great prototype map to help us kind of figure things out. But it was the tools and add-ons that we use support this particular map. They don't support 3 chunked islands. So our code team's working on ways to massage the tech to get it to support that. Got to get our tree manager system all working. So there's just a lot of tweaks and tuning that we're kind of like, it's like taking an engine apart. We're pulling out spark plugs, taking out the radio, and we're kind of reassembling things that make sense for what we want to do with the engine going forward. The ultimate goal is that we have this piece of technology that we will then, or a core piece of technology that we will then leverage as we move forward with other games that we'd like to build. And we have a lot of ideas on some new games that we want to work on once we release Savage Lands. But we will release Savage Lands first, and that's most important. We're not just going to abandon Savage Lands. We will release Savage Lands and then move on to some of the newer games that we want to work on, if that makes sense.
Makes sense to me. I get it, but we spend long, intimate moments together over a computer desk sometimes, so maybe we're on a different wavelength.
Possibly.
Maybe.
It's very possible.
So it said, Chris, will the Unity 5 switchover up the minimum requirements? So it's more of a tech question, but I can answer that one unless you want to.
You can answer it. I mean, my response would be I think it's undetermined at this point.
Correct. Currently, we don't know the impacts of what it's going to do to performance and everything because we're just making that transition right now. Until we, go through and see what the new assets, the new island, and everything looks like, until we start to gauge that and then do the exercise to see, what it looks like on the current requirements, then we wouldn't be able to address that. But until it's actually released out of early access, the requirements can be flexible to performance. But we'll try to do our best to keep the requirements the same and ultimately possibly provide you with more options within your options to be able to address settings. That seem like a fair answer?
It'll work.
I'm sorry. Chris Review already gave the answer. Let's just move on from there then. Fine. Thanks, Chris.
All right, it'll work. I think people will be happy. Yeah.
All right. Like
All
a
right.
part of history. Oh, and there was a compliment attached to that one as well. Thanks again for all of yours and the team's work already. The game kicks ass.
Thank you.
That was followed up by Mork, the Swedish chef, saying, "Yeah, feels like he's a part of history."
History in the making. We're working our butts off to make something great. Just takes time. Hey, you think about it, Logan. You know, you've been in development for a long time. This is like the best alpha that I've ever played. So, and early access for us is very much that. It's like an alpha version of the game that we can continually iterate on. And having worked on so many games throughout my career, I can assure you that the alphas that we say are alphas, I mean, they're borderline at best. But this is a true testament to just everybody working really hard, solid, playable, good foundation to build good foundation to bring the game to full release and then build other games, use leverage to build other games from. So good tech.
Yeah, no, I mean, Chris obviously has been in the industry far longer than I have, but I've had a unique pleasure of having worked for two large publishers, and in that time, especially in my time at THQ, had a chance to work with a lot of different developers across the world.
Stormwalker said definitely one of the better alphas. I haven't fallen through the world. That's a good one. Hey, I'm actually that pleases me a lot because there's a small rare chance in the spawn system, a very small, like 0.001, that it could happen. So it hasn't happened. That's fantastic. That's like in the original Command and Conquer. If you were to when you install the game, there was a very small percentage chance when you installed it in DOS that it could do something that horks your BIOS. Not many people knew that. We had it happen on 3 machines.
Well, that happened underneath your watch, so I don't know.
Hey,
Chris Reviewer.
I found it, my friend.
That's how you live to talk about it today.
That's right. And I remember their code team's like, how do we fix that one? Well, it's like, well, let's hope for the best.
You did already answer this one, but any plans on digging, and that was just pertaining to the new map?
Like digging, we talked about one of the features that we had talked early on was potentially digging, burying your items so that you can come back to a later day, a safe storage area. But we haven't really explored it yet in detail. It's a little bit lower on my priority list right now. So we'll see.
I'm actually becoming hypnotized by your movement about the map and your jumping.
It's pretty cool, huh?
The names off in the distance. Having flashbacks of last night.
What are you talking about? I know what I'm doing. I got this.
Where are you headed?
I'm just headed this way. I'm going to actually go out on a limb and say, based on the positioning of the sun, I just did a full circle. Even though, I'm running around. We're gonna go down by the water. It's all good. See, but this stream is not. I'm not leading anybody on an epic dragon raid this week. We're just answering questions, talking about stuff.
Well aware you're leading about the island.
That was a great adventure last night. Everybody's like, "What? Wait a minute." You're like, "Nope, we're lost."
Nope, he's lost. All right. So, are you still planning on 3 monoliths in the release version?
Yes. There will be 3, and they will have purpose.
They
But
will have purpose.
They will have purpose, but I won't tell you what that purpose is quite yet.
Huh.
But they will have purpose. Maybe I'm not lost as I thought. I don't think so. Maybe not. We'll see. We're going to run up this way, see what happens. No.
Wow.
The sunset. Oh, yeah. no.
King Carnifex dropping bombs right there.
Very.
When Chris says it isn't a very high priority, that means there's no
What is,
there's no chance in hell it's gonna happen.
is that what somebody
You put a
who
happy
put that?
face. Yeah, it's Carnifex. Being a troll.
That's not true.
That's the guy that started our dragon raid early last night. If I need to fire some shots and troll somebody, it's about someone that ruined it. That was supposed to be our moment. It's alright. Still love you. How will we get from an island to an item? Another island. So will there be boat building, or are we going to do some doggy paddle?
You'll have to wait and see. Ooh. I can assure you the new world looks nothing like what you see today. There's a lot more to experience. When you come in, the world tells a story. We're baking in a lot of details, so when you explore, it's rich. It feels really good. Leveraging a lot of the existing assets that we have, which is pretty cool. I think you guys are going to be really impressed.
So we've got Sydney Felipe asks, will the new map have the same overall Sunder Isles format?
If you're regarding to the layout, no.
Completely new layout, completely done under a different artistic vision.
Yeah, but it is a frozen world still, though.
So if that's the format you're looking for, yes.
Yes.
It's not the Bahamas. Or is it?
But the islands will kind of vary up visually, texture-wise. They'll feel a little bit different. You're also, when you come down to the waterline, you're not going to have a bunch of trees like this. You'll actually have, there's going to be nice flat areas. There's going to be plains that you'll be able to run across. Foliage will vary based on island as well. It's pretty cool.
Hey, Chris, you're starving, by the way.
I know. I looked at my bags. I actually don't have any food. Actually, you know what? I'm going to load in another character.
Wow.
Yeah, that's how. Luckily, I didn't host the game, so it's all good.
Yay.
Get in ahead.
So,
What do we got?
let's see here.
In-game mapping system. We might do something where you collect shards of a map and piece something together.
Wasky 202 reminded you that you needed to eat as well.
I'm all good now.
Community's looking out for you, making
Yeah,
sure that
that's
you're
right.
well maintained, you're healthy, you're sane.
Are you paying attention? No.
That sort of reward, sometimes that sort of reward deserves something. And by the time I finish the sentence, the code will have already been dropped in stream. So let's see who picks up that code. To Savage Lands for Steam, sitting in chat. That's a lot of food on that character. Apparently have the raid kitchen on someone else.
This is how I roll, and this is our last week's stream, so he's pretty well set. I even have some goodies if I find you worthy.
If I find you worthy of my berries. So much the twigs. So right now the HUD displays temperature in terms of being cold. You mentioned seasons at some point. Wearing warm armor make you too hot? How will the temperature gauge or UI in general adjust the changes if that is the case?
The systems themselves.
It's a tongue twister for you.
Yeah, the systems themselves will remain intact. So you're going to have cold, you're going to have hunger / stamina. But that will vary. We're going to change up the UI in the sense that you're not going to have those bars anymore. We're actually going to go to more iconic type of way to display health, cold and hunger on the UI, so it takes up less UI space. And those will be in the form of these like cool little icons that kind of drain down. We'll also have status effects. The screen will still turn red when you're taking damage, but that was one of our. That's another one of our overhauls is the UI itself, which will probably come on maybe right around the same time that the patch is available. So, but in general, it's just taking all the stuff that we have and better laying it out, which will be nice.
True. Got a compliment for Stormwalker saying that he or she loves the cold system that adds so much depth to the game. So compliment to freezing your butt off on the Sundered Isles.
That's right. It is a very cold and harsh world.
It is. Post screenshots of the new UI, Dark Soul Omega says.
Soon, once we get them working with our concept team right now to get them all arted out in a concept state, and then once we feel really good about those, we'll share them with the community where we're at.
We have to ultimately be going down that path, and right now we're still in we're in development on them. So until we're sure, there is no sharing. But thank you for the request. Nice to know that you guys want to see that kind of stuff. If there's other things, ultimately that you want to see from us as a community-facing developer, this is also a great time to put in requests like that, because then we do take note of it, and that could be something that we could do in the future. If screenshots of some of the stuff we're doing really, if that's the sort of stuff you guys like to see in early access, ultimately just letting us know is the best way to do it. Any chance of implementing a fighting system like Morrowind? Different styles of fighting, different types of weapons, and make it difficult how you play.
Anything we do will be based on weapons, nothing super complicated, but we are going to add a few things that kind of spice up the overall combat system. Shields, spears, investigate secondary type attacks, as well as a few other things like dual wielding as well.
Cool. Sky Island plausible with maybe a new Giant Thunder Eagle with Snakehead Chimera boss.
Yes. Take a little time to art it out, but
that seems oddly specific too.
That is very specific. We do have a few creatures planned, some more ogre-like giants to be added to the world, some interesting-looking troll-like creatures that we have, and we got a rabbits plural, that we're going to be adding into the world as well. Small game that you'll be able to take down, and we're going to be adding in new items, new weapons, some more new types of bows, new types of arrows, all sorts of good stuff planned.
I was looking at the stream and I realized my camera froze. Hopefully that unjiggers here shortly. I am playing a solo game, and a few days back my hapless hero was killed by a pack of wolves. I can still see the death marker from my camp. The gear still be there even though it's been a few days?
Say that again?
So he died a couple days back and his death marker is still visible?
If you have items on your corpse, then your corpse sticks around longer. So I'm not surprised that you still see your corpse. The higher quality the item, the longer your corpse will stay in the world. This was done so that if you lose your corpse on the other side of the island, you can at least have time to make it back and go and loot it. And yeah.
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 You die by gaming, so any advice on defeating the skeleton bosses?
What was that?
Is there any advice you have on killing any of the named skeletons?
Yeah, just when you go into those battles, you want to go in well-equipped. Executioner armor, ebon armor, the highest tier sword. Let's see, that's not dropped. The cleaver. You could also, if you just want to go in well-equipped. Suggest you bring Frostburn bandages because they do cause bleeding as well. So you just want to be well equipped for those battles. Most of them right now are tank and spank.
Are you drinking Talking Rain?
Yeah, talking rain. It's good stuff.
You're awfully. I'm just saying, it's normally, the streams, you have a beer. Black.
No, I got a lot of work today, Logan. I got stuff to get done.
Do you hear my voice? I'm shocked.
There's just too much.
I'm smiling now. Thank you for bringing joy to my life, Chris Rubin.
Too much work.
Too
So
much
I got
work.
got to get a lot done.
There's a lot to get done today. Which means we only got about 20 minutes left of the stream. We'll do a giveaway raffle at the end for one more key for whoever needs a key for a friend, or someone in the stream that's just checking it out for the first time. Wow. So, going back to what you said earlier about camping out near high-quality ore sources and waiting for it to respawn. Sources not respawn for a player in a certain amount of time, i.e. if they stay overnight in the house, if it's a large rock. What are the thoughts for respawning resources, I guess, is the ultimate question, or some changes you might see coming to it.
Well, I mean, the complexity, it's not a simple answer, unfortunately. There's a lot of things that we got to figure out. For example, we have rocks like the rock I just chopped. Or the rock I just mined. When I mine it, it disappears. Great, cool. Now this rock could potentially respawn. Does it make sense for a giant rock like this to respawn? In my mind, not really, but we could respawn it. Or we could do little nodes, special types of ore nodes on the ground that respawn certain types of ore and minerals. But the idea is that if this rock was to be destroyed and I built a house on top of this rock, at that, what do we do at that point? Okay, do we do a check that turns off the spawner that says if collision, then, do not spawn object? I mean, there's a lot of things that we have to write that we currently don't support. So those are the things that we have to think about, as well as trees, for example. When you clear cut trees and bushes, you have to do those same types of check. And as you can imagine, we got like 67,000 trees and bushes in the world. There's a lot of stuff that we have to think about in terms of code optimization and, minimizing those checks. So it's just something for us to explore with code. What works, what makes sense. I'm not a big fan of respawning. I think it actually, the idea, I want to drive you to kind of go and explore the world, where I think respawning in a lot of games, mostly the PvP focused ones, just force you to kind of camp out in certain areas and not do anything else, but that's just me. Where Savage Lands, I think we have more opportunity because the world is much more rich with wildlife and things to see, especially on the new map, that we want to push you to get out there in the world and go find stuff. But of course, what I'll be doing in the new world, on one island you'll find one type of ore, on another island you're going to find another type of mineral, and then on the other island you're going to find another type of mineral. So I've already kind of solved some of these problems to get you guys to move out and go and move around. So it could be a moot point.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, the node system, honestly, from my perspective, seems to make the most sense to kind of help with that, right?
It's kind of, a lot of RPGs use nodes. It's not a bad system if the timers are right, in terms of the respawn timers are right. And they could be random. There's a way we could probably procedurally do it so they just spawn randomly in the world around places. And things like these rocks right here that I'm looking at, these things will just give you things like stone.
Yeah.
And flint, and maybe that's it. And things, we have smaller nodes for more rare minerals. Just a thought. I don't know.
What was with you said an oddly specific amount of trees and bushes, 67,000?
Yeah.
Where did you get that number from?
The tool.
The tool tells you?
Yeah. We have 67,000 trees, a little over 67,000 trees and bushes in the world. And over, it's like 3,000 rocks, I think.
3,000?
Mm-hmm. There's plenty of stuff to mine.
Oh, yeah. Are there any plans, Critical Error says there are plans for world puzzles, meaning areas where you need to perform a sequence of events in order to gain access to areas and items. Interactable world objects like the ones that are there, and another here in an open area. An area opens up. Just a thought.
Potentially. I mean, we'll see where we're at in a couple months. It's very doable if we have time. We'll definitely consider some of that. We already have some of those unlocks or kind of progression with the dragon, where you got to go out, you got to find certain things to actually to engage the dragon encounter or to activate the dragon encounter. So we could expand on that with a few other creatures in the game as well. Speaking of dragon, there's Kerr up on the tower.
Making his round up for the stream. Sweet. You mentioned UI changes. Are you going to implement left and right click transfers for storage versus the click and drag drop system?
So some of the looting niceties that we want to add, for example, when you got a corpse, let's say you walk up to the corpse, you'll be able to hit Q. Q will loot all without potentially bringing up the inventory window. Now, of course, if your bags are full, it'll pop up the inventory window so that you can manage your space. Trading between players, we haven't really thought of if we want to do a player trading system. You can kind of do that now just by throwing stuff on the ground, which is kind of what you do in the real world. I don't know about Logan. If I walked up to Logan and said, "Hey, Logan, let's trade 20 things," we wouldn't open up a UI and I start putting stuff into it. So I don't know. We gotta pick our battles where it makes sense. But we are adding in more niceties to the looting system, so it makes it easier for you guys.
Gotcha. What? There's a house in Belfallen that looks bigger on the outside, but half of it is cut off by walls. Oh, that's a bug request.
Yeah, our art team. So one of the things our artists are doing are actually going through all of the assets in the game. So our art lead, Ryan, sitting down. We're actually going to sit down with him after this stream, and we're going to go through. He's working on taking all of the structures right now. They're working on tweaking the textures. They're also looking at reducing the poly count so that we can get better performance out of these things, as well as making them look better. They're also going to be going through all the creatures in the game, doing texture pass on those, making those guys look better. Animation team will be going through, cleaning up animations, making creatures, look and animate a bit better, though I think they actually animate pretty good for an early access game. I've seen far worse. All of our animations are all custom. They're not purchased from the asset store. But again, a lot of them are first pass to get the things in and working. So we got a lot of cool stuff planned there. So we'll see a lot of, you'll definitely see a lot of changes. We're going to evaluate particle effects and see what we can do there to tweak things. Character customizer will be going through an overhaul as well. So yeah, a lot of cool stuff planned.
Awesome. We've got a question that was passed to me from one of our mods, Definitely Pixie, saying, I have a question about having an empty bag inside of another bag and have an empty bag take up an inventory slot. That would be cool.
So say that again?
Trying to read. Yeah, no, I'm trying to. I have a question. Can we have an empty bag inside of another empty bag and have an empty bag take up an inventory slot?
Maybe. We'll take a look. I mean, that's something to take a look at.
Sure.
Yay, we just destroyed the house.
Wreck the house. Wreck it. Said earlier planned. What is planned in the Unity 5 development?
Odd.
I'm going to let you destroy houses for a sec while I try to sort through questions here. This is a good one. So, since this is a fantasy game, we plan on adding other races like elves, dwarves, and any creatures, or otherworldly creatures like fairies or goblins.
We already have a variety of different type of creatures that you can find in the world. Gremlins, skeletons, a lot of D&D inspired type critters. As for playable races, we'll probably stick with humans for now, unless we decide to add DLC, new island, expansion, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I guess maybe just the thought process of even more intelligent based creatures to fight.
Yeah. Well, that should be kind of a give me, right?
Gimme.
Yeah. I'm standing on the collision. Yay!
Can you possibly work on a trading system? Swapping things.
Well, I want to do a loot system so that you can have a party of players, and that party system you designate the leader, and the leader then has looting rights, and then you can kind of initiate a round robin type of looting system, need before greed type things. So you can easily divide up gear.
Yeah, I found out last night from our Dev Dragon raid that it was Ted that hijacked everything.
He ninja'd it, huh?
Everything.
Feels no guilt either, I'm sure.
No, not at all. He assumed we had private loot. So.
That's right. I just assumed.
Yeah, naturally, but he was laughing when he said it. So.
That'll show you, devs.
What causes Kerr to come down and breathe fire on us, or is it just random, or chopping down trees near
It's you like this.
near a spire piss him off?
So, Kerr, it's actually depends on whether or not they just summoned Kerr. It depends whether or not he finds you significant enough to pay attention to. He constantly checks the area. And you may at some point in that check he may go, you know what? I'm gonna go kill that player, and then fly around and go and kill you. Simple as that. Nothing special you have to do. You could stand there and look at him, and he might be like, I don't really care. Or he may say, I'm getting really tired of you. I'm going to go kill you.
Whatever you've done to earn the dragon's wrath at that moment.
Oh, yeah.
Whoa. This is interesting. Like, can we add...
I think I may have crashed the server.
Oh. People are curious about adding doors to the rundown buildings around. So basically, and you play carpenter by adding doors to a town if you really like it, like Befallen. In case you want a burnt shack with a very nice door in front.
Why not?
What? Can I call this charred cinder house mine by adding this lovely red door right in front?
Yeah, no, it's a good idea. I don't, there's no reason necessarily any reason why you can't be able to interact with that stuff per se. It's, but yeah, I mean, it's very possible we could just add it in so you could, if you want to repair the town, you can. But we are looking at adding in things like Kerr being able to just set buildings on fire, the giants being able to destroy structures, that kind of stuff. So. And you'll have to be on the lookout. Potentially skeletons like the Furies bashing down your structure to get at you. All sorts of good stuff.
Furies bashing down. So we're getting close to the end of the stream here. We've got about 8 minutes left, so we'll do the giveaway now. As I'm mentioning this, I will have the mods put up a form with the MooBot, maybe? I'll figure that out. Let me get Chris on another question and I'll talk to them about it. You should make special condition bosses that spawn around once you hit a criteria met. So they're talking about a request of different gremlin, like a gremlin name boss once you've done. This kind of harks back to that puzzle request, right? Of do 2 things and then something happens somewhere on the island. With regards to rare spawns, what are your thoughts on that, Chris?
Yeah, it's a good idea. I mean, I don't think it would be too hard to tweak our trigger, our creature system to do fun stuff like that. It's kind of halfway there already. We just need a few more tweaks, and I'm all for that because I like triggering that kind of stuff and getting players to go to various parts of the world to engage certain types of encounters. I think it's cool. So yes.
So yes.
Yes.
Well, so we've got Sean has opened up the raffle. Awesome. It's going to be for followers.
Hit that follow button.
So if you're just stumbling on the channel for the first time, or you've enjoyed some of the antics and things, go ahead and hit !raffle to be entered in for a token. We'll probably find a way to send that token to you using the internet. Thank you very much, mods, for setting up the old raffle there.
Raffle!
Raffle daffle.
It's gonna be good. Everybody's gonna win stuff. Well,
mostly
somebody's gonna win something.
Chris is trying to play the Oprah Winfrey of raffles.
Everybody hit follow if you wanted the raffle.
Make sure to give us a follow on the stream. Thanks again for swinging on by and spending this lovely hour with us as we watch Chris parade around the Sundered Isle.
Jumping, crazy. Thank you, Critical Error. We yes, we agree with you. It's not perfect, but we will get there. We're doing our best to make a great game, and hey, it's one of those early access game sets. We think it's pretty stable for early access. I mean, I've played some, and you can run it. I've played a lot of games that I can't really run. So, I mean, that's positive, right?
What about building stronger walls or structures for defense?
Yeah, walls and cool types of traps are trapping small game are on our list to add. So yeah.
So by the time I really should time and look at our delay, considering I set it up. So Sean just posted 30 seconds. Pretty soon, the raffle will close. We'll be picking out 3 winners from that to be able to get a copy of the Savage Lands, all its splendor, glory of the Sundered Isle. You too can be a green tattooed dude with swords and a bikini and horns upon your head, wandering around next week for the stream.
Yeah. Here with Party Boy, we got Steven.
He's ready to party.
Or Stefan.
Stefan. Let's see here. Will the next character creation update be coming out? Just an approximation.
I'm sorry. What? I was busy. What'd you ask? So what's the question?
When will the next character creation update be coming out? Just an approximation.
It would be a month with the Unity 5 stuff. All right.
For Savage Lands in the future? Sure. We'd love to have a Signal Studio Con.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, trust me, nothing would make me happier than to have that be my full-time job to organize.
Right. It's like, that would be amazing.
All right, so we've got our winners. It's called out by Sean. I will put it out in the official. Congrats to Risika, 87, Sukafice, and Stripling. Hey. Hey everybody, test stream. Stream. Cool. I'm super excited to be able to pass out those codes. Super excited that you guys were all able to join us. Excited to get out the next patch and excited for the next bits that are going to be coming out to Savage that we all get to kind of work on here at the studio with the new people on the team, including myself, who's now officially on it.
Yeah.
Not just joining Chris and harassing him on the stream. Now he has to put up with me off the stream too. So
it's all good in the hood. Gonna get her done.
All good in the Signal hood.
So many resources. I don't even know what to do, Logan. It's like Christmas. It's awesome. We're gonna make something awesome.
Christmas in November.
Are we done? Are we wrapping this up? Is that what's going on? Oh yeah, we gotta go to a meeting.
We got a meeting right after this.
Yep. All right. So let's wrap her up. Go ahead, finish it out.
Okay, thanks again for joining us, guys. We'll be doing this next Thursday, but stay attentive to your social medias there, because if you guys noticed, we had a special stream last night, which is kind of awesome. So you never know when we might drop something with an hour's notice. So give us a follow on here, and you'll see when it goes live. Facebook.com/Savage Lands Game is another good place to look for things that might get posted out of the blue. And there's one other place on the internet called the Twitters for you kids that are hip, like myself. Unlike Chris Root.
The Twitters. What is the Twitters?
Exactly. For those that like to tweet, we've got @SavageLandsGame, and I will also be sending it out from mine, XShadowStormX. And happy to take any of the. If you guys don't like Steam forums, go ahead and if you like tweeting, use those 2 forums to get a hold of us. If you like web pages, we've got web pages. You like Facebook, we've got Facebook. And you can also typically find us on Steam, because I know Chris is adamant and it will respond to just about everything in the free world. And you'll also see more devs in the Steam forums responding to stuff. And we're generally an easy open ear to be able to get a hold of because we heart you guys.
Absolutely, guys.
So official sign out. I feel like I should have one worked out. So like on behalf of Chris Rubior, Signal Studios, and the rest of the staff here, thank you very much for joining us.
Stay tuned next week, and again, like Logan said, stay tuned to social media. You never know when we're going to be streaming. Thursdays are official, but all during the week, it's just we could just do anything. So
crazy.
We'll keep you posted. Thank you guys. Have a great weekend, and we will see you all next week. Late.